you would please come forward, state your full name for the record and who you're here representing, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Gabriella McDonald. I am from Texas Appleseed, and our interest in this is kind of looking at some of the research behind what's happening with civil asset forfeiture in Texas and the fact that it's been incredibly difficult to do so. While it's important to know how much money is being seized and how much money is, what money is being expended on, what expenditures have been, I would like to reiterate Ms. Mitchell's testimony, as well as the ACLU's and the Institute for Justice, and the fact that we have no idea how often this money is being seized in connection with criminal convictions. So some of the things we don't know is just understanding issues with procedural fairness, because people don't often come forward. We don't often know deals with conviction rates, like I just stated, and the economic and racial impact that we have happening in other places. So I've mentioned that we were trying to study this issue, but in trying to study this issue, it's been really difficult to figure out how to get at the conviction seizure connection. And so one of the people that have done a study in another place that has similar laws to Texas is the ACLU of Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. And they had to literally take 30 days in a courthouse pulling 350 individual records for years between 2011 and 2013 to get some interesting data that I wonder how close Texas is to that. But we can't extrapolate, but just as I talk about some of the things we don't know here, what they did find out in that study, I'd like to kind of point those out. So the majority of cases end in default. We know that's true from talking to DAs. We know that's true from what people have testified with here. But in that Pennsylvania study, we found that 87% of cash seizures end in default in Philadelphia. So that's a common ground across all that we have seen in different areas. Cash assets are often pretty low. And in that Philadelphia study, they found that it was less than $192 for 50% of the cash asset seizures that were happening there. I can't say that that's what's happening here, but again, this is just one of those instances where they've actually gone through the entire process of pulling every individual court record to figure out what's happening. A couple of the DAs have stated here that oftentimes people, when they finally do reach out to them, they'll just give them their money back, but people have to know to do that. And there's no reason for people to know to do that until they're just like, okay, I finally got this notice, that assumes that they get the notice. In the Philadelphia study, oftentimes a lot of people weren't getting notice. And it was just a fact that you don't always know who the actual owner is of the property, depending on what it is. Dealing with talking to DAs, a lack of counsel is an issue. It's an intimidating process to go to a DA and talk to them and ask for your property back and to say, I had no idea that somebody else was using this car for this purpose. I should get my information back. A lot of times, the other thing is people are traveling through different counties to get information, to get to other places, and so they'll have stuff taken from them and they'll have to go back to that county to get their stuff back. So that's another expense added on there. Let's see, what else did I want to say? I guess the last thing I want to say, and I'm just trying not to reiterate all the things that everybody else has already said, but the last thing I do want to talk about is just the economic and racial impact that's been shown throughout both Oklahoma, Nevada, Nebraska, Texas, New Mexico, where they just changed the law, that more often than not, this practice is affecting poor people of color. And in that Philadelphia study, they found that you know what? No, actually, it's in Montgomery County. They found that at PA that 53% of the people who were dealing with asset forfeiture were African American, and only 7% of that county is actually African American. So it's been shown in multiple areas in multiple states that this is disproportionately happening to people of color, and that's true of the Tenaha case and other cases that have been found here directly in Texas. So I just wanted to bring that those facts to the table, in addition to my colleagues who have spoken on this issue.
Very good. Thank you. Questions? Thank you so much.